Okay then, hello everybody. Welcome to the Sunny16 pop-up studio. I'm just going to zoom in on the signage. As you can see, no expense was spared in bringing you... No expense was spent, sorry, that was it. No expense was spent bringing you this video. So I'm Paul Mackay from Analogue Wonderland. We have here with us Andy Church from Kodak Alaris.
Hello.
And we have a man who you will recognise the voice of and maybe have fortunately never had to look at before. Graeme, how are you doing?
I don't like being on camera, not going to lie.
Not only are you on camera, you're also
the audio breaks out.
being interviewed rather than interviewing. How's that so far?
Also, not fan of that. Not fan of that at all. I feel like I'm going to be thrown under the bus.
Good. So Graeme is already upset by what we're doing, which is fantastic. And so we are we're going to run through the winners of the Low Light Magic competition that's been running since January. What we said at the time was Andy said he can do 2 prizes with Kodak film. Two, there we go, 2. Using visual medium to the maximum there. And but what he's actually done is he's gone through, the response was incredible. We had over 500 photos, quality was unbelievable. And he spent a large part of the last week going through every single one of them. Couldn't whittle it down to just 2. And so we have 10 that we're going to talk through, all of whom will receive some prizes. So there are still 2 sort of grand winners, but frankly the quality was so good that Andy has very kindly said that everyone up to the 10 will receive some Kodak film, obviously with the 2 grand winners at the top. So without further ado, we're going to head straight into the different pictures, and we are going to start at number 10 and Olivia Morrison's photo here. So it's called Smooth, it's on Colour Plus 35mm. Andy, what did you like about this in particular?
So it's a very dark image. It's quite an enchanting scene. It's a scene of a bar. And there's just a huge amount of detail. It's almost sort of a fairy tale land of lighting. It's got a centrepiece. It looks like a headless barman. It has got a head, I can vouch for that. I've had a close zoom in. And
You've been to that bar, okay, yeah. Yes, nice.
And even though they're serving with plastic cups, we'll forgive that in the environment they're in. But it's just a well-taken image in very low light conditions, and it's got a very warm feel with lots of detail.
And Colour Plus as well. Graeme, you surprised that Colour Plus can deliver detail like that?
Yeah, it's spectacular. I love this. And I also love the fact that there's huge chunks of the area that have just gone completely to black, and that's wonderful. I think it really adds to the image. It frames the shot perfectly, and the bar is clearly a wonderful spot for doing that kind of shot in, because you've got these amazing lights just hanging down there. It's like a night sky in there. Yeah, I really like that, and it's very different from a lot of the other shots you're going to see. So
no, it's perfect, isn't it? It's like the lights at the top. Are they lighting? Is it sort of stars coming through? Gorgeous. So really well done, Olivia. That's a fantastic start. So if we move to number 9 on the list, and we've gone from colour to black and white, a discontinued film, we're told. So we prizes for guessing maybe. We're not sure which film Grant Wilkinson
I think it's
Kodachrome. Yes, I remember. Renowned for its dark shadows. And a very different one. So Andy, what caught your eye on this film?
So again, it's at a high level of detail. It's the centerpiece is just one watch in the middle, which is in focus. The ones around it are not in focus, so a very short focal length. So it just looks great. The detail in there. It's a little community of watches, one centerpiece, and everything else around it just builds that whole atmosphere of an oldie store, and something of sheer value just in the middle, standing out centerpiece.
Yeah, no, I think they've taken the shadow depth field and used it really well to isolate something that is interesting. Graeme, anything that springs out at you?
no, I mean, I think it's just a lovely shot. I think the bars of the stand actually break the picture up quite nicely and really frame the watches in the centre. And it's just quite a nice kind of trifecta. It's an old film, old watches, a traditional way of taking pictures, and I love looking at old stuff like that. I mean, unlike Andy, I wouldn't have used those back in the day. So
fantastic. So really, really lovely photo. Okay, and we go to a double exposure, which we know you are partial to.
Yes,
Andy.
Yeah. So we did have a high level of double exposures last time. Less were entered this time, but this was, I think, our clear favourite from the ones that were entered. So at first glance, it doesn't necessarily appear like a double exposure, but under closer inspection you can see it is. And taking that image in a low light scene is quite complex in itself. Getting the exposure levels right, and it's just the way that it's mixed together is skill and a little bit of luck probably. But it's created a bigger band that fits well together, and encaptures probably the life of the party in the scene at the time.
No, definitely. I think there's definitely the emotion of a live act, and also clearly having changed the angle slightly, or maybe even the position in between shots, means that it comes through really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I love the energy of this picture. I think even if it had just been the single image, the stronger image that's come through on that was a perfectly timed shot, getting the singer with his cake all wide open. But the double exposure just adds to the energy of the chaos of it, and it makes it feel more like you're there. The colour's amazing. What was that, Portrait 400? Yeah, it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, 35mm, yeah.
So the submission was by Chase the Wind, which we don't know whether is the band or the photographer or someone's slightly different name. But no, really, really lovely photo. And we go from a modern concert under lighting to something that looks, well, if not timeless, then definitely from the 1920s.
Yeah, it's kind of it's almost old school Hollywood. It's a perfectly taken image. The lady's face is soft, but it holds a lot of detail. She looks lovely. The earring looks great. The whole composition is really good. I thought it was slightly overcropped for me, but just excellent, really good.
Yeah,
the lighting on the hair and the shadows on the face, which doesn't take anything away, just enhances it even further, I thought.
No, I know what you mean with the crop. I mean, it really brings the attention to the eyes. I think the other thing is, I don't know whether, I mean, it's on large format, so the depth of field will be extreme, but it's almost as though they've used one of the old softening filters that wedding photographers used to use to give a really sort of misty look.
Yeah.
But it's very different from the other portraits that have come through, and absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, that light really is quite spectacular, isn't it? I would love to know what the situation they were in to get that very filtered light. It must have been some kind of blind or something, but it's beautiful, and also the backlighting on the hair. It's it's just a lovely, soft, really elegant and beautifully exposed picture.
Yeah, there's side light, there's a little bit of front light, and there's back light as well, which is
that's all the lights. I think that is literally all the lights.
Yeah. No uplight.
Oh, okay.
Failed. No, it is just spot on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And then okay, and we move from there to a sunset, and also we have a returning favourite here. So people who have followed along from the summer competition will remember a fantastic poppy field photo from a photographer called Chris Rowden, and Chris has returned. In fact, we were joking earlier that Chris really should decorate Andy's house, because Andy clearly has a particular liking for the aesthetic. But here we go. I mean, there were several sunsets, I think, in the submissions, and this one really stood out for you.
Yeah, welcome back, Chris. So this is was it Whitley?
Whitstable.
Whitstable. That's Whitstable sunset. Yeah. So on Portrait 420,
which is Chris's weapon of choice, isn't it?
Definitely his go-to film. Definitely his go-to film. So I'm quite partial to a sunset. I think most people are, to be honest. It's great clarity. It's a wide-angle image, and the colours are just excellent. It's sharp. It's well composed. So the break in the image is about a third of the way up, which is probably the best it can be. It just looks great. There's darkness at one side, brightness at the other, and the colours are really strong. So it must have been a great place to be, to take the image, but to capture it perfectly is really good.
Yeah, it's the metering spot on as well, isn't it? Because he's got the highlights all the way to bright, but not burned out, which happens often with sunlights. But also got detail in the cloud really far, and that's partly Portrait 400's strength, is the colours across the full exposure. But also it's good, and panorama's an unusual choice. Not unusual, maybe just rarer.
Yeah, and I think for me that's what raises this above some of the others. Because I'll be honest, I'm disagreeing completely with what Andy says. Sunset shots not really my kind of thing. But it's fine. But it is an incredibly well done sunset shot, and the interest in the cloud formation and the fact there's clearly a bit of wind on the water, there's really good movement there, beautifully exposed, and I think that the panoramic format just lends to it perfectly. It's really nice.
Brilliant, lovely photo, Chris. And this one, so when we put this photo, it's one of the first ones we put on Instagram actually, I think, as it was going, and people went absolutely nuts for it. And I think you can see why. So Thomas Robertson has taken it in a crater. Would you like to pronounce the crater?
No,
he would not like to.
It's in a crater.
It's an Iceland crater, and you've got clearly two figures who are being maybe buffeted by the wind, but the detail is exceptional. I don't know whether you can see it on the screen you're watching this on, but when you zoom in, you can really see the detail of the storm maybe they're experiencing and the dust going into the grain of the film itself. It's really very evocative.
Yeah, it's all about the mood of this picture to me. And I mean, the detail, we're looking at it on a small screen now, so I can't really see the detail. But to be honest, I don't need to, because even if there wasn't any detail, I would still love that picture for the tonality and the mood it creates. You feel that storm coming out of the picture at you. It's fantastic.
Exactly, really, really atmospheric and incredible to capture. And that's 35mm as well, which again, I think people, when they try and take something that's atmospheric, they often think you need a larger format, but this is clearly... Well, it also looks like somewhere you wouldn't want to be lugging a large format camera down necessarily.
I think the level of interest in such a dark image is amazing, and it creates a great scene and atmosphere. It's really good.
I think that's a good point actually, because in low light people often tend to then focus on how to make the light a big part, whereas here, if you saw the histogram of this, I'm sure it would be 90% on the left.
And I think it really does show what a worthwhile space that is to explore. It is not to look for the light in the dark, but look for the dark in the dark and do something with that. I love it. Yeah, I really like that one.
And then Chris turns up again. So Chris Rowden for his second feature, and this one is maybe a bit closer in theme to the poppy fields of the summer. Again, Portrait 400 120. But the colours, I think, is probably what's elevated this one.
Yeah, it's great colours. The composition of the image is exceptional. So the whole screen is filled, but foreground and background, and then the detail that's captured. So it's the colours, the detail, and then the whole composition. So everything at the foreground and behind. So again, an exceptional image.
Yeah, it's a nicely put together shot, and making the best of the winter light. There is such an expressive light over winter. It's so low in the sky, and particularly with things that are very low to the ground, like plants and flowers, what little there is out there, you can really do some wonderful stuff with it if you catch it at the right time of the day, which is a pretty short window. Yeah,
no, spot on. And from your gardening experience, is there any professional comments you'd like to make about this heather?
It's very nice. That would be an Erica carnea, so it's it's a good time of year to be taking a picture of an Erica because they're in flower. A few weeks later, there's just nothing but brown things. But no, that's as far as my.
That's fantastic. To be honest, I asked that question with no expectations of what you'd come. So
a lucky heather, sir.
And here we go. We're moving, I think, into the top three. So this is another portrait, very different from the sort of the 1920s movie star before, David Willis on Tri-X 120.
Yeah, so a very well lit image, obviously dark, but just the right amount of light to capture a beautiful face and silhouette it with and give a little bit of mystique around it. So very, very eye-catching, a well-taken image.
No, spot on. I think this is sort of a more classic portrait look, perhaps, maybe one lighter with one reflector. But the metering, I think, the composition here are what really, really spot on.
Yeah, and again, just that confidence to go, yep, let's let most of this go black.
Yes.
And I think it's wonderful. The expression on the model's face is fantastic, and the lighting and the absence of lighting just lets that shine through and leaves no distractions.
Yeah, you can see this is a fine art print pretty easily because of the strength of the simplicity. And then we come to the first of the grand winners. So a landscape, or a cityscape, probably we should say, Tri-X 120, once more, London by Night and Ted Smith. So Andy, so for you, one of the top photos you saw, what do you particularly like?
So it's probably a well-known scene. It's the City of London from across the Thames, so I don't think that's a surprise to anyone. But it just twinkles in all the right ways. So there's lots of intrigue, there's lots of bright light, and it's just a lovely scene. It's enchanting. It makes you want to be there. There's a warmth about it, even though it's in black and white. And there's a good range of light and dark areas in the image. and it's just a really nice image.
Now you can see the individual windows picked out on the skyscrapers, but then also the sky. There's enough reflected lighting, presumably from the city, that you get a little bit of the cloud, so you get the texture in the sky, which makes it particularly strong.
Yeah, I really like the fact that the choice was made to give half the picture over to just the sky. I think it would be very easy to imagine the image, the city placed higher and taking advantage of the reflections on the water and stuff like that, and we see a lot of pictures like that. But given how much light and detail and interest there is in the city in the lower half, it's really nice to have that restful, dark calm above it. I think it just complements the picture perfectly, and it leads to a more balanced picture. I think if there was more of that light and interest, I think it would be too much. It would be a bit overpowering.
No. So it's absolutely spot on. Really well balanced, really well shot. So congratulations, Ted Smith. Some film will be on your way shortly. And then the other grand winner. So I mean, the title of this piece, "The Place of the Crows," frankly puts it in the top 10 of anything. Anyway, that's an incredibly evocative description of a place. Try It's 120 again. So clearly, that's a film that is
top 3 positions.
Yeah, exactly. So responding well to low light situations, or at least people are choosing. So Andy, what brought this into the top 2 for you?
Okay, so composition again. Certainly the lighthouse, so the brightness of the lighthouse light, which is toned in just perfectly, silhouetting the rocks around it, using a long exposure, which has allowed the sea to move and blend in and blur a little bit, so the movement has blurred it in, which adds to the mystique of the scene. So it's dark, there's an element of mystique. It's very soft in the foreground, but there's a harshness of the blackness of the rocks, which gives a great image. And again, the composition of the image, having the break of the skyline in a nice position, it's the winner.
No, I think this is fantastic, and you can almost see this being used to sort of teach photography students some of the basics. I mean, the composition, you've got the sort of the S of the rocks, the lighthouse leads all the way into the foreground interest. The metering is perfect because you have the real dark shadows of the rocks all the way through to the bright lighthouse, so that's spot on as well. You're right, the horizon level's an interesting place. So I think a lot of the basics are done here really, really perfectly, and then with the right choice of film and in the right place and the right time of day to capture everything, despite it being low light, with enough interest to make a really compelling photo.
Yeah, just the Oradori brands going past. There's really not much to add to what you said. It is just an incredibly well executed photo, and also I think it's a photo which, if you wanted to say to somebody, why give film a go over digital, it's because there's a few built-in elements of this which just shine out. Okay, so it's square format, which instantly for me makes this picture more interesting. Most landscape pictures we see are not square format, and I really like this because of that. And the mood, the drama that's created by the blacks going the way they've gone. Again, yes, you could arrive at this look by spending hours in Photoshop and doing all stuff, but film will get you there without having to go through all those steps. And just to see so many, say basic steps, but actually a lot of this stuff is, getting the water to look like that so well and balanced so well with the sky so well exposed. It's just a very well executed image in a not particularly easy situation.
Yeah, you can imagine there's a tripod on the rocks in front of you as well, isn't there?
I think, be brave. The practicality of shooting in that location with your expensive film camera has paid dividends. So,
Fantastic. So there we go. So we've had then the 10 photos, the top 2 winners. So we'll be in touch shortly with all those people to get addresses for the film to go to. Now then, for the last couple of minutes, so we're at the photography show here in Birmingham, and there's been a few analogue sort of stalls and photo walks. Well, let's do the photo walk first. So obviously at the same time as we talked this competition, we talked about the fact that you do a photo walk at the photography show. How's it been, Graeme?
It's been fantastic. It's been knackering, but yeah, couldn't really believe how many people turned up. I think there were 40 people here this morning. It was great, wonderful turnout, real mixture of people from all over. I think the furthest person I've spoken to came from down in Devon somewhere.
Oh, wow.
So come quite a long way. And yeah, it's been great. There's plenty of stuff to see. We've wandered around seeing the Pixelator. We've seen Intrepid with their large format and larger. Rachel's here with her cyanotypes and with Rose Toynbee, been putting on a great demonstration there. Matt and Michelle from Ilford.
Yeah.
You here with your mum on the solar can stand. Andy obviously holding court at lunchtime. It's been fantastic. Yeah, absolutely great.
No, that's brilliant. And Andy, you've enjoyed the photography show as well?
Yeah, really good. Highly recommend it. It's a really good day out.
It's fun for all the family.
It's fun for all the family, and there's plenty of Cub Scouts parading by, just as you do a lovely little podcast.
Exactly.
So it's been busy, but not overly busy, and there's lots to see and do, I would say.
Fantastic.
Yeah, very good. See and do, is that right?
I think you're confusing this with Alton Towers. But
Yeah. Oh, is that where we're going later?
That's where we're going later.
And that's Andy's pitch as he works on commission for the photography show. Exactly. No, well, thank you so much for watching. Congratulations to everyone who's won. Thank you so much for all the submissions. Genuinely, it's been amazing to go through and see everything, see what people have created. And that's it from us. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all shortly.
Bye for now.